Welcome to my corner of the internet, episode 12. The final episode of Ice Queendom is out, titled Best Day Ever, and sadly there was no evidence or anything of a continuation, even though that was just kind of hopium on my part. I knew that wasn't gonna happen. But it's like, with this, with the Justice League crossover, with LFL, it just feels like they're trying to push the IP to see how far they can get it before people start losing interest. So if this does well overall, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting some continuation at some point. But until then, this felt like the perfect little cherry on top to the series we have overall. And, because we just have, we've ended with Ruby reassuring herself as the leader. We've ended seeing how much Weiss has been changing throughout the volumes, and overall so far I'm just happy that Shaft was able to give us this little bit of Ruby goodness between volumes we've had so far. So after everything dealing with the nightmare, Ozpin wanted to talk to Blake and Ruby individually, and for Ruby, him seeing her use her eyes this early, he just wanted to make sure, like, did she know what she was doing? Did she do it on purpose? Was it just instinct? Did she even understand or realize what happened? And Ruby still doesn't remember or process it, which is kind of weird since, at least in volume 3 when she did it, she blacked out, which, cool, I get that, but here it's like she seemed fine afterwards, so maybe she just didn't register it, I guess. But either way, when he went to question Blake as well, he was asking about her involvement with taking on the White Fang down at the docks, and her intention of hiding being a faunus while still at Beacon, even though they accept them. And I just love this. I don't know if you would call it directing, cinematography, whatever, but like whenever he's the goofy, smiling Professor Ozpin, it's like just beaming down certain ways, everything's all good. But as soon as he talks about anything that could be even slightly related to this secret war he's waging with Salem, all of a sudden shadows come over, he gets a serious tone, and this look on his face is just very, I will mess you up if I feel anything is wrong. And I love that side of Ozpin so much. And he's sitting there questioning Blake as well, and I assume that Ozpin is a good judge of character. So when he's questioning Blake's intentions of hiding who she is and things, I'm wondering if he's feeling her out and seeing like, could she be someone sitting here by Salem? She's not being entirely true for herself, so is she truthful to me? I don't know about that. But he seems to more understand that she's not, and then as soon as he's sure about that, he immediately turns around and says, hey, I want to bring you to my side, why not help me bridge that gap between human and faunus as well, which kind of goes back to Ozpin's original mission of having to unite all of humanity, which, at least through this conversation, seems like it would include the faunus as well, which I love that, because, like, Ozpin is still just behind the scenes playing that chess master, trying to manipulate people to maintain whatever peace he sees fit, even in something like this. So I love whenever Ozpin does that, really. So then we have the food fight to just cap off the series entirely, and the crazy thing is, like, not only is this just apparently some Beacon tradition for freshmen to just ruin the cafeteria, thanks Ty, by the way, but the crazy thing is, Weiss is the one that started it. Like, the Ice Queen herself started the food fight, and it's almost kind of weird because this version of Weiss just feels so different sometimes. Like, she is much more emotional, she like this early in, I guess, volume 2 now, technically, she's asking Blake to help her fight corruption in the SDC. She gets embarrassed so much more easily. It's almost like a different version of Weiss entirely, which I'm kind of here for. After something like this, I would expect those changes to be more thorough, I guess. But back to the food fight anyway. Now, we don't get like some super crazy ending with Ruby just splattering everybody across the wall like the original. But don't get it twisted though, we still get some of that chef's kiss sakuga goodness. And it's still beautiful, okay? Um, and you know what? And they're still playing up that White Wolf's card because, like, literally throughout the fight, you know, you got Ruby coming in to protect Weiss, and then Weiss sits there and like tackles Ruby, and just like saves her too. Like so, someone on Shaft's payroll must be a White Wolf shipper because they're doing this way too much. But you know, don't. It's not that bad if you're other shippers as well because we get a little bit of Noah, we get a little bit of Arcos, and a little bit of Bumblebee to Taj all over too. So it's fine, you know. And I don't know if it's just me, but it's like the tone of this food fight just felt so different. Like I don't know if it was the music they used, but it felt very sentimental to me. You know, it's like Ruby was just sitting there like, dang guys, you remember that time we were back in high school and we all had this food fight in the Beacon lunchroom instead of fighting some immortal evil witch? Good times. Good times. You know, but still, you know, I just cannot stop saying good things about the animation and the level of sakuga and fluidness we get with this, especially that run up at the end. It just looked beautiful and it's just a treat for the eyes, and I love it so much. And yeah, with that, Ice Queendom is officially done. You know, overall, I feel like we hit some high highs in the beginning, and then the longer it went on, I feel like it just started getting less interesting when we just started bringing in everybody else into Weiss's nightmare and experiencing it for the first time. You know, they kept just saying the same things over and over again. It started to get way more redundant. But I'm really happy to say that they brought it back the closer we got to the climax, and then finishing out on such a strong note with these last couple of episodes, really. Um, and if this is your first time looking at anything Ruby related, I especially want to hear your thoughts on it. You know, because being a Ruby fan myself, I was able to enjoy it, I feel like, in a different way than if I didn't know anything about Ruby entirely. Plus, it feels like, at least to me, that this helped kind of expound on some things that were either like in Volume 1 or between maybe Volumes 1 and 2. You know, like a lot of people say like, oh, Weiss just kind of stopped being racist after the end of Volume 1, and this kind of goes into that a little bit more, and it not being just like an instant fix, you know. So I would really like to hear what you think about this versus, you know, someone who is experienced with the franchise. But yeah, with that's pretty much Ice Queendom. And hey, if you've been watching these, thank you, and maybe stick around for more. If not, that's cool too. Anyway, see you on the next one. Peace.